Hello friends, my name is Mohsin Mullah and once again I welcome you all back to my channel, and today we are going to discuss about a very important and very interesting topic, that is pneumatic proportional controller. Okay, so here the diagram behind me, in the diagram behind me you can clearly see a pneumatic system which is essentially a proportional controller. Now we are already familiar with some of the components of the pneumatic system from my previous video lectures on the same topic, pneumatic controllers. That here you can clearly see a flapper nozzle type of amplifier. With the help of a flapper we can obtain the flapper nozzle amplifier here, and there is also the air relay, and also there are set of bellows used for determining the pressure at different points in the tubing, as well as for the feedback action. So here the second set of bellow which is connected in the feedback path is essentially an feedback element that will detect the output pressure and accordingly will give the displacement in other direction so as to adjust the flapper nozzle to adjust the output pressure. Okay, so this is how you can say the overall representation of the proportional controller looks like. And if you try to understand the working here, so first of all there is the input pressure of a very large volume. Okay, so but sometimes we do not need that much high value of the pressure, so therefore here orifice tube is used. We already know that the pressure is going to reduce after the orifice fuse orifice plate here, so that after the orifice plate whatever pressure is available, it is going to be lesser than the same, and therefore in this particular pressure is used for the basically adjustment of this bellow as well as the operation of the relay element. Okay, so whatever spindle available here, okay, so that is going to be adjusted with the help of that small pressure P2. So now if you try to understand the working here, so basically the output pressure will be available from here with the help of this relay to the output pipe, and this will be given to the system wherever we want to use that output pressure. It might be used in the, say for example, in case of the, you can say pushing of the piston, or you can say in case of selecting a particular equipment, or pushing the you can say lifting flat platform of the car, etc. So anything can be possible with the help of that output pressure available. So many applications can be possible, so to that it can be used. Now we want to obtain a particular value of the pressure P naught, so therefore we have to set the flapper nozzle at a particular displacement. So how this flapper is going to adjust here, so already working I have explained, but let us now quickly see the working once again. So here there is a small opening provided in the end of the nozzle. So therefore when the flapper is nearer to the nozzle end, at that time what will happen, there is a very small opening available for the flow out of the air. So because of which what will happen, the pressure inside the nozzle here, it is going to be enormously high. So when there is a high pressure, so that pressure is going to be sensed by the bellow A2, and that bellow is going to get expanded in the lower direction, because of which what will happen, so here because of which the spring attached to that K2 is going to displace from its position towards downward side, and at the same time what will happen, so as this spindle, air relay spindle is attached to that spring, so that air relay is going to go down, and as it is going down, so what will happen here, it is going to try to block this area, therefore pressure available here will be lower. Okay, so pressure available here will become lower. Okay, so less air will be available and pressure lower will be available, so because of which the low pressure will be available, and because of which the contraction of the spring will happen, and this spring will be pushed other side, so therefore the flapper nozzle will go to the other side. And similar kind of operation will happen if the flapper side is far too away from the nozzle, the pressure here will decrease, therefore this is going to contract and the spring is going to move upside, therefore this spindle will go upside, opening larger area for this inlet pipe, therefore high pressure will be available here, larger volume of air with high pressure will be available, and the output pressure will be larger. If the output pressure is larger, this feedback bellow is going to expand in the other direction towards the left hand side, therefore that spring will also move to the left hand side, making the flapper to again go back to its original position. So thereby we are going to achieve the particular output pressure, and also that is with the help of a displacement. So basically what we understand here is this output pressure is directly in relationship with the displacement. If the displacement is going to change, the pressure is going to change, therefore here this particular setup is you can say for obtaining the output pressure for the input displacement E, so which is indicated here. Okay, so which is applied at one side of this flapper link. Okay, so therefore that is the constructional detail. Now the hard part is to obtain the, we can say, model of this particular actual system in the form of simple blocks and set of equations. So as we already seen that to obtain any mathematical model or a, we can say, representation, so we need the linearization of the working of those actual models. So as we have already seen from our previous video lectures that the flapper nozzle operation is little bit non-linear, because the characteristics of flapper nozzle is non-linear in nature, that you can see with the help of this characteristics visible here. So now if this characteristic is plotted as pressure against the displacement, this pressure is this nozzle pressure P2 and the displacement is the movement of the flapper from the nozzle from its fixed particular position. So as the flapper is at the 0th position, means exactly close, at that time the pressure here will be enormously high. So that is indicated here, and if the flapper is far too away, in that case the air will flow out very easily, so losing its all pressure, so the pressure is dropped in this particular position. Now let us assume that the flapper is adjusted to a fixed nominal position, giving the fixed output pressure, and there is a fixed displacement. So let us now indicate that fixed displacement as xi and the fixed output value as P2. Therefore we are going to get two coordinates. If I take the values on this y axis for P2 and x axis for xi, so intersection of these two is going to get me one value on the non-linear characteristics here. So that particular point can be now considered as the operating point for this particular controller. Here we have to set the flapper at a particular displacement of xi. So we are going to get the output value which is available here. So if the P2 is fixed, obviously the P0 will be fixed. That is a common logic, because if the P2 is constant, no change will be occurring in the any of the two belows. So therefore there will not be any change in the output pressure, it is going to remain constant. So essentially P2 decides the value of P0. So now what we need to do is we will try to obtain the one particular expression for this particular characteristics here. Okay, so now we try to obtain a linearized expression. For that, best way is to use the Taylor series application here. So Taylor series, what exactly it does is, so if there is a variable function, it is going to give at a particular point the variation. Okay, so the expansion will give us the variation. So therefore we are just going to consider the first order. So therefore only one term of that Taylor series expansion is sufficient, so that we can obtain. So if xi is the fixed value, so we will take the deviation from that xi value. So that deviation is nothing but this dou of xi comma 0 from this point. Similarly in the y, so we are going to get the deviation as dou of P2 comma 0. If I take the ratio of this y and this x value, so I am going to get that first term of the Taylor series. Okay, so that will give me the Taylor series. So therefore here it is represented. So P2 is the output pressure because of the input displacement xi. So x is the smallest deviation in the value of xi, so that I have represented here. Then therefore because of that smallest displacement in x, there will be change in this value, and also there will be change in the pressure accordingly. So that term is indicated, and this is nothing but the y divided by x, or change in the y divided by change in the x value, that we all know is nothing but the slope. So therefore this is indicating the slope, and we are taking the slope as k1. Now since the value is decreasing from higher to lower, so the slope is going to be a negative slope. So therefore it is minus k1. That will become our first equation. Okay, so therefore on the similar lines we can try to obtain one expression for the air relay, because air relay essentially works on the same principle as that of the flapper nozzle. Only change is here the volume in this particular air relay is very large, therefore the air pressure obtained will be larger here. Okay, so therefore whatever air pressure is being applied, with the help of this spindle here, we can control the air pressure in the relay. That essentially is the output pressure P0, because you can see the directly tube is connected to the output P0. So therefore air relay expression can give us the output pressure P0 against the displacement, that is here the displacement is y. Okay, so that displacement is y, and we know that as the displacement increases, so the pressure is going to decrease from this characteristic. So same thing is applicable to that particular this particular A relay also. So now here decrease in the increase in the displacement means it is actually the opposite direction of this what we have indicated. Okay, so therefore we are going to get the expression like P naught equals to K naught times minus K naught times Y, because as displacement increases the pressure is going to increase. Okay, so pressure is going to decrease, sorry. So therefore it is again the negative type of slope we are going to use for the representation of that output pressure P naught. So now let us go to the bellows part and let us try to obtain expression for those small deviation in the Y and Z. So Z is the small deviation from its original value, Y is small deviation from its original value. So now how they are going to be related? Now just consider this first bellow A2 and see this pressure P2. So whenever this P2 is going to change, the area A2 is going to get affected, it is going to get changed. So therefore P2 causes change in the A2. Similarly that change will cause a displacement in this Y. Okay, so there will be corresponding change. So if A is greater here, A2 means it is going to expand, in that case it is also going to change. So with the help of the fixed constant K2, that is spring constant K2, so the change can be obtained. Okay, so if you take the product of this on the output side, it will be exactly same as the product of these at the input side. Therefore that expression can be written as P2 times A2 equal to K2 times Y, because the displacement at the output side is Y and input side is A2 because of P2. Similarly for the other bellow, that is feedback bellow, so here change in the value of P naught will cause the change in that AF. So because of which there will be change in the Z value and that will be multiplied by the Kf constant of the spring. So here spring constant is very important, because if the stiffness of the spring is larger, the constant will be larger and displacement will be smaller. If the stiffness of the spring is lower, in that case the displacement may be larger, but again the product of the two will remain same, essentially it will remain same. So therefore we need to multiply this value with this. So constant times the displacement, that will be equal to the applied pressure times the area of the expansion in that bellow. So therefore here second expression is P naught times AF equals to KF into Z. Now using these two expressions we can obtain Y equal to A2 divided by K2 times P2 just by adjusting the terms at that time at that side, and Z equals to AF KF divided into P naught. So that is fourth equation, third and fourth equation. Now let us try to obtain the expression for the displacement X here. So that displacement X is the result of two inputs. One is the input E, that is one side displacement, here the displacement in this direction, and there is another input Z, so because of which the displacement in the other direction, the superposition of the two displacements will be the resultant displacement X, which is given here by this particular expression. So this expression can be obtained with the help of simple analogy to the that potentiometer type of operation of the circuit. A potentiometer type of you can say connections. So here suppose if I am taking a total resistance and if there is an input applied from one side and I want to measure the potential difference here, or let us say that potential difference is corresponding to the displacement of the pointer from this value to this value here, so that is X. Now if I say that the resistance at this part is beta and here it is alpha, then I know that the current flowing multiplied by the resistance will give me the value of this voltage and accordingly it will give the displacement. So therefore now what is this current flowing here? It is nothing but the E divided by total resistance. Therefore beta times E divided by total resistance is alpha plus beta. Similarly if I take the input at the other side, that is Z here, okay, so now it will become my input, at that time this will become my reference. So now if I want to obtain the displacement again X, so this time reference is this side, so the variation will be from this side to this side, okay, so pointer is same place but the displacement is from the other side, okay, in the opposite direction. Therefore this X value can be obtained by using this resistance multiplied by the input current, and input current is going to remain essentially the same, only the direction is going to change. Therefore here alpha times and input voltage is now this time Z divided by alpha plus beta. Okay, so this is how we can obtain the expression, and if I take the superposition of the two, one is in this particular direction, the other current is in the opposite direction, therefore the values are, one is positive, another one is negative here. So we can see that, and that the same expression I have written in the here in this part of the board, so you can refer that. Now for that particular part of the expression we need to draw a block representation, okay, and accordingly we need to substitute the different terms that will come in line with that particular block, okay. So just yeah, so now let us start drawing the block over here. So the very first block is I can obtain for the x. So x is, let me say right now, is acting like a output, and there is two expressions for that particular output. So those two expressions are summed. So I'll take a summer. So output of that summer is x. So what is the input for this particular? So one input is coming from E, okay, and it is being multiplied by one term here. So that term is beta divided by alpha plus beta, and the second term is coming from the other side. So let me take it from here, and this term is coming from, say, essentially it is coming from the feedback path, because z is in the feedback, so I'll just draw it in this way. Now expression is what? Alpha divided by alpha plus beta term, and input to this particular block is z, and this is negative in nature, so I'll get it negative by taking negative sign here. Now where this z is coming from? Z is coming from output side, and while it is coming from, it needs to be multiplied by these two, you can say, constants of AF and KF. Therefore what I am going to get is, here the constant multiplication is the ratio of the two, AF by KF. If they are proportional, at that time it will be exactly 1, or according to that proportionality constant, so the value may change. And also z we have obtained from the expression over here. Here it is AF by KF times P naught, and P naught is what? Obviously the output pressure. So let me just show P naught here, and I'll take the tapping from that P naught, so that will become my feedback path. Similarly, now I can write for the direct path for that output P naught. So to get that P naught, I need to refer to the expression for P naught, that is equation number 2. So here you can see it is multiplied by constant K naught times one signal Y. So let me just write the constant K naught, and that constant is negative. Okay, already we have seen why it is negative, because as Y increases, that output is going to decrease, so therefore it is negative. Now what is this signal Y, where it is coming from? So to see that Y, we need to consider the another equation that we have already written, that is equation number 3. It is coming from P2 and it is being multiplied by A2. So therefore here I can write the block of that multiplication, that is A2 by K2, and the input signal to that is obviously P2. Okay. Now what is P2 here? P2 is nothing but, again we have written expression for that P2, that is the very first expression, okay, equation number 1. It is minus K1 times x. So x is already available, I need to just put a block indicating that minus K1 term. So I am gonna get the P2 value. Okay, so therefore here is the block representation of the expression. So here, like this you can represent the, you can say, block reducing all the equations into a simple block diagram. Now this is the model of the system representing all the operations with the help of blocks. Now I will try to simplify this block. Okay, so by simplification I mean that I want to get a simpler form of this overall complicated block. So therefore I will start by simplifying the first block here. I will try to get the similar type of term in this place. For that I need alpha in the numerator, denominator I have alpha plus beta, but I need alpha in the numerator. So that alpha I can obtain by multiplying and dividing by alpha. Therefore what I will get if I multiply by alpha and beta, alpha in the numerator and denominator, so alpha by alpha plus beta times beta by alpha. So therefore first I will write that beta by alpha term. Okay, so first I will write beta by alpha. Here input signal is E again. Then the second block will be the remaining expression. So alpha divided by alpha plus beta. So alpha will get cancelled. Again this will come as it is if I simplify these two blocks. Okay, so now next is the summing point as it is, and thereafter the summer, whatever terms are present, so these terms I want to merge into a single term K dash. Okay, so as it is the simple multiplication of the three blocks, so I will take that as K dash. Okay, and later I will write the expression for the K dash. This is P naught, and from the feedback path, so as it is the feedback element, Okay, so that is alpha divided by alpha plus beta and AF by KF, and it is connected to the output. So let me just show. Okay, so this is what I am going to get essentially. So now alpha by beta at the input of the summer and also alpha by beta in the feedback path. So this we can alpha divided by alpha plus beta, this term and this term we can try to adjust by shifting this particular block to the inner side here inside of this overall construction. So how it can be shifted? So when this block is shifted here, so 1 divided by the same block I have to shift here. So if G is present here, then G will come here and 1 upon G will be available here, G here and 1 upon G here. So this 1 upon G is nothing but reciprocal of the term here. So therefore if I substitute the actual term in the next block representation, so you will see how it will look like. Okay, so remember this is G now. So therefore beta divided by alpha in the beginning as it is, no change in that, input signal is E. So then directly I will write the summer point because I want to shift it inside. So here I will get that alpha divided by alpha plus beta. At the same time I have to shift a reciprocal of the same. So reciprocal of that is nothing but alpha plus beta divided by alpha. Okay, then there is the feedback path and I have the term alpha divided by alpha plus beta, and then there is this KF by AF. Okay, sorry, AF by KF. Okay, so and also K dash is already available here, so I'll write the same K dash, then the output, and here the input path. So that is completed. Okay, so let me just indicate this P naught. Okay, so far good. So now you see this block and this block are directly connected to each other and also they are reciprocal of each other, therefore they will get cancelled and only this block will be available in the feedback path and this is the term available in the direct path. So if I simplify this particular block, I can get one term, total term, which I will represent as K double dash, and I can write the expansion of K double dash as the letter here. So first of all let me try to simplify that and write it as directly. So alpha beta by alpha multiplied by E, the second block after simplification will be just K double dash and that will be connected directly to P naught. So from this we can obtain P naught equal to expression. Okay, so but before that let me just write what is that K dash and where K dash equal to, where K dash equal to, so already we have written this, so it is minus K1 times minus K naught, so again it is going to be plus K, so K1 into K naught times A2 by K2, and also where K dash, K double dash is nothing but, so this simplification of the term, this term divided by 1 plus the same term into, because it is a simple negative feedback path, so we know how to write that expression. So I can write directly alpha divided by alpha plus beta times K dash divided by 1 plus alpha divided by alpha plus beta times K dash into, so feedback term is AF by KF. Okay, so this is say expression number 6, already 5 we have. So now here if from the denominator we can assume something, so assume, okay, for further simplification we need to assume, so therefore assume alpha divided by alpha plus beta times K dash into AF by KF is far too greater than 1. Okay, so this we need to assume. So because of this assumption what will happen, so directly this K dash term, K double dash term will become approximately equal to, not exactly equal to, but approximately equal to KF divided by AF. Okay, so this is how you can obtain, and if you ask me how did it come, so I can just show it if you have the little bit of more patience and time. Okay, so if I say this alpha divided by alpha plus beta K dash is far too greater than 1, so I can take this particular term to the right hand side and try to write it. So alpha divided by alpha plus beta